Eventually, approaching her 30s, Lili began to feel embarrassed about being single, even if by her own choice. She hated being alone. Solitude prevented joy from spreading over her when she saw a bright, sunny spring day and had no one to laugh with, or when she went for a picnic at the beach and splashed the water on herself. It was no fun writing your own name in the sand. Her fear of marriage was being crushed beneath her heart's cry of loneliness. She wanted someone to love. If she could lavish all this love bubbling up in her heart on children, she knew she would be content and perhaps even happy. So for practicality's sake, she was rethinking her decision to never marry. She sighed. When she really analyzed it, it was not men that frightened her. A small portion of her reluctance to marry was simply the arguing. However, she had come to realize that she was not like her mother, who was unable to understand humor. She was lighthearted and saw the amusement in things, more like her father. The bigger issue for her was the terrifying thought of infidelity. The fury she felt each time she thought of her parents' ominous warning that no man could be faithful. She would deal with that threat calmly and with sound judgment. She would pick out an unattractive husband so that he would feel so lucky to get someone as moderately attractive as herself that he would be less inclined to cheat. As much as she deplored the idea, she settled the matter. She would marry some pleasant, benign man who would be a good father and be done with it. But it wasn't that easy to give up such fears. With each man she considered, she worried that he would not be able to be faithful. She continually analyzed how a wife could keep her husband from looking at other women. Being brutally honest, Lili would stand looking in a mirror at herself with a critical eye. Her blonde, limp hair did little to frame her pale skin, but it did shine as it cascaded down. She mostly pulled it back in a low bun. It was rather sophisticated, she thought, especially with cute dangly earrings. Her nose was long, but not too broad. Her eyes were a pale bluish gray, and when she smiled, her cheekbones were high and sculpted. Her chin was quite narrow, but the saddest part of all was her narrow lips. Oh, how she hated her narrow lips. Absolutely nothing to kiss. She was afraid no one would want to kiss them. Then she started gazing down her feminine form. Her neck was long and thin, like her arms. Being shaped like a pear, she needed to gain a few pounds in some places and lose them in others. Was she the type of woman that a man would be faithful to? Realizing that she was no Bridget Bardot, she decided she would be a wonderful wife. She would be fun and charming and adventurous. She would love life, and that would be so enchanting that no man would ever leave her for another. That was her strategy. High expectations for herself, low expectations for her husband. Maybe that would make it possible for a man to be faithful.